My goodness, man. Aaron Portzline, you know what you are doing. What a way to kick off this Monday morning. Okay, it's afternoon for me here, but today, the Montreal Canadiens are playing off against the Columbus Blue Jackets, and there's a very good chance that by the time this video is uploaded, you are already watching that game. I understand that for me personally, this really is not a good choice to make a video about the Canadiens right before the Canadiens have a game, but this is the one odd time where I feel like the commentary subject and the stuff that we're looking at is so big. And it's so damning that even if this video is going to be published while the Canadiens are playing, I think that kind of adds to the experience. If you're watching this video after Monday, December 23rd, then okay, you already know what happened in the Habs and the Blue Jackets game. But speaking about Montreal and Columbus, obviously, the biggest, most important storyline here happens to revolve around Patrik Laine. And this, of course, it's a big deal now because last time Montreal played off against Columbus this season, Laine wasn't in the lineup. This is the first time he's actually going to suit up, and of course, they are in Columbus right now, so Laine is making his big return to CBJ after getting sent away from that organization late into the summer. And with all of this drama that was surrounding Laine in the past, we had ourselves a response. Him calling out the situation from all those months ago in an article published by Portzline on The Athletic from about 4 hours ago. Yeah, I had 4 hours to make this video, but I didn't wake up until pretty late, so that's kind of my bad. I had a pretty good night last night, if I'm going to be honest. But we're going over this piece. I'll leave a link in the description because it is on The Athletic. You need a paywalled subscription to read it. Patrik Laine on the Blue Jackets trade request he had. I was tired of losing and just giving up. Oh my goodness. This article has Patrik Laine's entire psyche regarding Columbus within it, and in order to help us out, I'm not going to screenshot the article itself because that's behind a paywall. Instead, we're going over onto Puck Report NHL's Instagram account because what they did was they made a post about this same thing from 3 hours ago, and they included all the quotes we needed in the body of their post. So it's all here. We're going to leave a link in the description to two things, the Athletic article and the Puck Report NHL IG page. But this is what Laine said about his trade request from Columbus. I feel like we were just doing the same thing year after year, Laine said. He spoke to the media as he gets set to return to Columbus for the first time tonight, and opened up about his time with the Blue Jackets. When I signed here, and he says here because, you know, the interview is taking place in Columbus, I made it clear that I loved being here, that it was going great, and that I didn't want to leave, Laine said after the Canadiens' morning skate. Obviously, things happened, and that was kind of it for me. I feel like we were just doing the same thing, year after year. I was tired of losing and just giving up when it's December to start focusing on next year. I'm not going to do that. That's frustrating as a player when you're trying to win, and some people are, you know, not like that. They're a little too satisfied and too comfortable with where they're at. It wasn't really a fit for me anymore. But here in Montreal, it doesn't matter if we're winning or losing, we're always trying our best. That's what I felt about it in Columbus. Asked to clarify if he was referring to the Blue Jackets players or the management, Laine said, "I'll leave that for everybody's imagination." But there were certainly people like that who were a little too comfortable and fine with losing and just doing the same thing year after year. I'm going to leave that up for discussion for everybody else. Oh my gosh! Talk about the fire! Laine's bringing the heat not just on his stick, but on his microphone too. My gosh! What a darning set of comments right there. For Patrik Laine to openly admit that the Columbus Blue Jackets organization has people within, either management or team-wise, that give up in December, that don't really try to win, that don't really care about the winning or losing, that say, oh yeah, okay, we're sucking again, let's just focus for next year. And that sort of mindset is something that I think many NHL fans would take in a few different ways. you have some fans that have been watching Columbus for a while that would probably agree and say, yeah, okay, like, yeah, he's being honest here. That's exactly what we saw. As fans watching this team the past few years, we know that the team has stunk, and we know that there isn't really a level of engagement here within this organization that matches the dedication or the desire to win out of guys in, let's say, Tampa Bay or in Florida or Edmonton or whatever. The Columbus Blue Jackets has guys that are too satisfied, too comfortable with losing over and over again. And Laine, to go out there and say, very honestly, yeah, I couldn't deal with that. Now in Montreal, everybody tries, and everybody's great here, and I like it here because the city has embraced me, and every time I touch the puck, Montreal and the Bell Center comes alive in a way that none of the other arenas that he's ever played in have come alive before. Now, that last part is my own subjective commentary on the matter, but I think Patrik Laine wouldn't necessarily disagree here. And the funny part is, like, you have a lot of people saying that, oh yeah, Laine had these big damning comments about Columbus, but a lot of the replies on this Instagram post are saying, oh, well, okay, you went from Columbus to Montreal, congrats. And I think that's a little bit of a blanket statement to make that isn't really all too correct here, because I feel like for Montreal, the thing is, they're so young as well. Like, Columbus is young, Montreal's young, but Columbus really needed to transition away from some of the other guys they have had and build upon some of the more youthful talent that's got more to prove. Patrik Laine is a lot more of an older, younger guy. Not a young guy per se, but he's definitely not old. He's an older, younger guy who is already established and whose presence on Columbus was just, okay, he just needs to show up and he just needs to do what he needs to do. And with the fact that Columbus ended up tragically losing on two of the most expensive players on the team this summer in Patrik Laine and, of course, Johnny Gaudreau as well, RIP, there was a new motivation for the Blue Jackets this season. And obviously that's not going to be something that Laine would have experienced. He wouldn't have experienced the revival in Columbus, you could say. And I say revival very loosely. I mean, they're literally last place in that Metro division right now. But Columbus in years past certainly has not been inspiring and not really presented much of a good viewing experience for anybody who's been significantly wanting this team to do well. I will say they're doing okay now, relative to the expectations. Everybody kind of thought that Columbus would be a bum feeder team this year. But you think about some of the guys that are doing very well. Kirill Marchenko is a #1 line player now. He's a top power play guy. He's been really coming into his own with his shot and his now established playmaking and his size too. Voronkov playing alongside of Marchenko is a very good add. Their chemistry has been very impressive. Watch out for them as the Blue Jackets play off against Montreal later tonight. And ultimately, there's been a few changes here and there in Columbus that Laine would not have been present for, but with some of these other guys like Kent Johnson really stepping up, you've got Sean Monahan, the new first-line center who has been very good this season, and other guys like Mathieu Olivier who have been effective on the third line, Adam Fantilli still growing, getting better. There is some sort of a new motivation for this team to proceed, but for Laine's experience and what he had the past few years in CBJ, not a chance. We saw it in the standings, we saw it in the way the team performed, we saw it in how they would go by their day-to-day business. That team was very unmotivated, and it's unfortunate, but now Patrik Laine, after his harsh comments, seems to have found himself a new spot in Montreal, where everything he wants is coming true. So let me know your thoughts about this article and this interview. Patrik Laine calling out the Columbus Blue Jackets in a very damning way. What are your opinions about everything that's been going down here, from the game itself to the story, what Laine had experienced in Columbus, what kind of system he was in, what kind of locker room he was in, what kind of organization was being run when Laine was there just a few months ago. What are your thoughts about how the Blue Jackets have improved? Do you think they've improved? I'm giving them credit for bouncing back from the Johnny Gaudreau tragedy with a decent product on the ice. Maybe not the most incredible, top-of-the-league, President's Trophy caliber thing here, but still, it's kind of good. It's better than we thought, and so I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comments whether or not Laine's opinion about this is still the status quo. Was he correct in his assessment of the Blue Jackets from years past? Why or why not? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.